Laura's mother, Helen, is seen driving while talking on the phone to a man who tells her that they haven't received a payment from Laura's father. And the issue is that they need to sort that out by Monday or else Laura won't be able to resume her studies. Out of nowhere, some random woman appears on the road which forces Helen to turn her car abruptly. This woman's name is Carly and she's looking to get a ride to Holden Springs. Helen accepts to take her somewhere close to that. Inside the car they make some conversation. Helen tells Carly that she's going to pick her daughter Laura from college and then they're headed up to a cabin near Fallview for winter break. Carly asks Helen about what she does for a living, to which Helen replies that she's a high school music teacher. However, when it is time for Carly to say how she earns a living, her answer comes out pretty vague, just saying that she's in between jobs. Laura pulls out her phone to write a message and Helen asks if it's to let her mother know where she is. But Helen doesn't know the big mistake she's made by picking up this woman, because Carly is actually sending a message to her boyfriend named Boyd who's following them. The message Carly writes is to report that Helen is just a music teacher, so they should pick someone else. Boyd replies that they must do it because they're running out of money. Carly says she's feeling hungry, so she searches through the glove compartment, only to find that Helen actually has a gun there. Helen explains it's just for protection purposes because she had some trouble with her ex and the cop recommended her to get one. Right after this, Carly sends another message to Boyd to inform him that Helen has a gun. After a while of being on the road, they make a stop at Laura's college. Carly gets a call and tells Helen that she needs to use the restroom. Then Helen gets out of the car to greet Laura and explain that they have an extra passenger who's Carly. Laura is concerned with this, but Helen assures her that there's really nothing to worry about. Carly goes to Boyd and insists that they should call it off because there's two of them, so things could get more complicated. Carly ends up agreeing with the promise that they'll do it one last time and then they'll be able to leave for Mexico. Carly comes back and introduces herself to Laura. Boyd is about to start off his car and keep following Helen's car, but there's a truck blocking him. The trucker is holding a chain. Apparently Boyd recognizes him and asks not to hurt Carly. The trucker doesn't say anything, he simply hits him, leaving Boyd unconscious. The trucker grabs Boyd's phone and takes a look at the information he has of Helen. Carly finds it odd that she can't see Boyd's car following them, but she gets a message from the trucker making it seem as if Boyd's okay and just staying behind to not raise suspicion. Suddenly the trucker starts to horn at Helen, so she moves to the side to let him surpass her. But then the trucker slows down and now Helen can't get ahead of the truck. They get out of the car and Laura proposes to her mom to report the trucker as a drunk driver. However, they notice that the trucker has now stopped. Carly receives a text that says that Boyd got held up and there's a motel at exit 40, so he asks her to take them there. Laura thinks this is a good idea since it'd be dark soon, so Helen agrees. Helen offers to take Carly with them to eat something outside the motel, but Carly turns down the offer and instead she gets to work by robbing all their valuable items. Carly then pulls her phone out to call her boyfriend, but of course Boyd won't answer, so Carly just takes the stuff and leaves. While Laura and Helen are having dinner, Laura says that she has something to tell her, but Helen wants to let her know about the next semester situation. Helen says that she can handle it, but since she's been having some cash flow problems, then the payment might be a little late. So she called the school and asked for a grace period, but she still hasn't got a reply. Therefore, the only other alternative she has is to sell the cabin they own. Helen explains that it's really hard to get child support from a felon. But now Laura is out of words and not willing to share what she had to say before. Carly receives a message that says that Boyd's dead and she's next. Carly doesn't believe it at first, but when she receives a picture of Boyd looking dead, it becomes more than obvious that whoever is behind the phone is not playing games. Carly runs back to the motel room and unpacks everything. Helen arrives with leftovers for Carly, but she starts crying and tells her that she needs something to drink, so she goes. For a moment Helen notices a strange behavior in Carly, so she decides to check if the money is still in her luggage. Helen feels relieved to find it there. Laura, who's still at the restaurant, pulls out some pills, but hides them as soon as Carly sits with her. Carly orders a drink and she tells about how she's having issues with her boyfriend. Then Carly asks for how long Laura has been pregnant because she noticed that the pills she's taking are for anti-nausea. Laura asks to not tell her mom. Carly says that she won't say anything, she would just like to have a few pills for herself. Helen hears somebody knocking on her door, but there's nobody out there when she opens it, just a teddy bear hanging out from the ceiling. Helen decides to open her car and take out the gun to feel more safe. Then she sees the same truck from before, so she opens a compartment to cut some wires and leaves to tell the girls that they have to go because the place it's not safe. While they're driving, Carly asks Helen to stop the car because she recognized Boyd's car. But the police don't know much about the incident yet. Carly sees Boyd's jacket hanging from a tree, so she grabs Helen's gun and goes to investigate. Helen tells Laura to stay in the car while she goes help Carly. Inside the car, Laura sees that Carly left her phone, so she reads the messages and finds out what are Carly's true colors. Carly finds Boyd tied to a tree and he was still alive by the time she got there, but his last words were, "Run." The trucker appears and reminds her that they met last winter. Carly was hitchhiking near Bedford. The trucker picked her up and Carly pretended to like him, but then she hit him on the back of his head so hard that she left him unconscious, and then she tied him up and robbed him. Boyd and Carly took it all. The man says he even lost his license in the visits with his kids. Carly tries to shoot him, but the gun is not loaded. But Helen arrives with the bullets and loads the gun, however she can't bring herself to shoot the man. Instead, Helen tells Carly to bring the police. But when she listens to the voice of her daughter, Helen goes away to indicate to her and the police where the man is. When they get there, the man is gone. Laura tries to explain to her mom that Carly isn't what she says she is, but Helen is already aware of this. Helen takes the girls to have dinner and asks Carly to tell her the truth. Carly just says that the trucker thinks that Carly and Boyd ruined his life because he's crazy. Helen wants to gain her trust, says to her that she used to not be so different from her. Helen had a problematic boyfriend like Carly's named Daryl, and before he was a trucker, he liked to steal cars. The trucker enters the diner, but instead of calling the police, Carly and Laura hide a knife under their sleeves. Carly proposes that Helen shoots him and she stabs him in the back while Laura distracts him. Carly stands up to do something, but when the man shows his face, they realize it's not the trucker. But then they look out the window to see that the truck is parked out there. The owner of the dinner offers them a place to stay, so they go there. Helen makes sure to block the door with a drawer. Carly makes a comment and Helen figures out that Laura is pregnant. Helen just wishes her daughter had told her, but Laura explains that she couldn't find a good moment to tell her. But Helen is happy with the news. When everyone is sleeping, Carly wants to take the matter into her own hands, so she grabs the gun and goes outside. Laura notices this and follows her without her knowing. When Carly is inspecting the truck, Laura arrives and Carly gets mad at her and tells her to save herself because she doesn't want to be in a crime scene. But Laura tells her that they can help her and she's not alone. Out of nowhere, the trucker appears, so Carly throws herself at him and punches him. But the trucker stabs Carly and then he takes Laura away. Helen wakes up and stands in front of the truck, which almost runs her over. Helen gets inside her car to follow the trucker. However, Helen soon runs out of gas, but she receives a message with a location which she follows. Helen finds an empty truck and her daughter's jacket. A bit further, she comes across the trucker's house. Helen opens a door and finds her daughter. Laura tells her that the trucker killed Carly. Helen tries to calm her down by saying that it was really smart of her to send her location. However, Laura confesses that she didn't send anything. That's when they begin to worry about having fallen into the man's trap. The trucker arrives and breaks the door, but before he can enter, Helen and Laura come out from the window. However, Laura feels really weak, like something is wrong inside her. Helen tries to help Laura get inside the truck so that they can leave, but the trucker appears, pulling her out of the truck and throwing Helen to the ground. The trucker then hits her with an axe and takes both of them to his garage, where he has them tied to a chair. Helen manages to break free from the ties and using a metal stick she's able to kill the trucker. Helen takes her daughter out and they do hitchhiking, hoping that someone might take them to a hospital.